Thank you. Oh, wow. Can you all hear me okay? Oh, brilliant. Wow, what an introduction. Thank you. I've never been introduced as a shepherd, but it's the first time for everything. And I just first of all want to say that I'm really happy and also proud to be here speaking to you all on this topic. There's a few things that I want to say just before we go into prayer. One is the organization for this conference has been amazing, and I hope that each and every one of you have been really enjoying it. I remember, because I'm also of the church, going to conferences when I was much younger, and especially the preaching of last night just took me back to how things used to be. And I just want to say that in a community or in a church, in a congregation like this, I know that you might have had to pay a bit of money to get here, but to be honest, if you were not here, to find this type of setting outside is hard. And then on top of that, if you do find it, the amount you'd need to pay to just hear, whether it's a spiritual word or even like the panelists that were up here or anything career-wise, there's a lot you'd need to pay. So you are very blessed to have this opportunity, not just one-off, but year after year, and also different types of conferences as well. Another thing that I want to say is I'm just like yourself. And just like yourself in terms of, yes, I was born in Nigeria. I came here when I was 4, but then I was brought up in the church. So many of you, especially if you're in the Midlands church, you'll know my dad, Pastor Kenny. But as you can see, I look very much like my mother. And it's just to say that everything that you're going to hear of what I'm going to say now is not from someone that had like a silver spoon or that my parents were rich. At least when I was young, I thought they were rich. Now they were just well off. It's not. Also, it's not by any, like I would say, great or magic thing. It really is God. So what I'm really trying to say is that everything that I'm sharing, you can also do it as well. Whatever profession you're in, whatever work that you're doing, you also have the opportunity to make it wherever you want to make it as well. So don't feel that you are at a disadvantage. It's just about learning the ropes, learning the secrets to success. And what's really interesting is that I was actually meant to be speaking last night, but not last night, yesterday, but actually I'm speaking today. And it's even better that I'm speaking today because I feel that what I'm going to be talking about is a continuation of what was discussed in the panel. So I'm going to be talking about mentorship and networking, and I just pray that what you hear you apply to your own lives as well. So with that, let us pray. Father in heaven, I just really thank you for this day. I thank you for bringing all of us to this point in time. I just pray that you use me as a vessel to share your good word. Father, I just know that your thoughts towards us are of good and not of evil, to give us an expected end. And all the people, your children that are here, that are looking to you, expecting from you, I pray that you will fill them in Jesus' name. I pray that you will put your words in my mouth. That the things that you have, that you want them to hear, they will hear in Jesus' name. Also make their hearts and their ears receptive to what they hear as well. Thank you, Lord. Bless us, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So I'm going to be talking to you about networking and mentorship. And I really do like the question that one of the brothers had with regards to the fact that maybe a lot of the things that we talk about is very, I would say, white collar and not enough blue collar. Obviously, I'm going to share my own experiences, which is more in the white collar. But I do want to say that take it on board and apply it to your own life. You don't have to have walked my own path, but whichever path that you are choosing, do take the the secrets to success that I'm going to share with you on board. So, okay, so each time I'm going to be looking at the, at the slides to help me as I go along. Now, one of the first things that I want to say is this whole topic of mentorship and networking. It's not that I started using it from the beginning of my career. I had to learn it after, let's say, 5-6 years of already working, because it wasn't something that was really shared with me or told to me in the beginning. And I was really glad that the sister that was on the panelist was already mentioning that. So some of you are at the start of your career, some of you are midway through. I just really want to amplify what she was talking about in terms of networking and mentorship. I just remember, so I worked for Unilever. I just remember when I was starting out, like, there'll be certain people that got amazing opportunities, certain people that got to travel, and I just wondered, how are they able to do it? What is it that they're doing? What is it that they're doing that I'm not doing? And it was only later on that I started to understand that they had mentors that put them in that particular position or allowed them the opportunity to do what they were doing. So with that, I just want to share with you a little bit of my own experience in terms of how I came to where I am. And of course, it's just one career path. What I would ask is that you then apply that to the career path that you are on as well. So, yes, I am in marketing and also head of brand for Unilever Food Solutions, but my career did not start there. It started all the way back in research. So when I started off, this is like many years back now, after I'd finished my master's. I wasn't quite sure what it was that I wanted to do. Sorry, one thing that I want to share with you is I'm going to talk to you about my career, but I'm going to place it in light of mentorship and networking. So then I'll be sharing with you how I managed to navigate my career through the people or the relationships that I had. So going back to the beginning, this was when I had finished my master's and I wasn't quite sure what it was that I wanted to do, but I did know that I wanted to help people. Now, I'm sure this is a safe space. Like, I had like really big ideas. I thought I was going to come up with like the cure for cancer. That's like how big my plans were, that I just wanted to be able to help others find something new. And so then what I would then do next, I didn't really know what that would be. So I was, sharing that with my parents, that I didn't know what I wanted to do next, whether it was a PhD, and if it was a PhD, what type of PhD, or go into a corporate job. And at the same time, we had a brother in the church, Brother Abraham, and he was super intelligent. This man had like 2 PhDs. And for anyone that knows, it takes a lot to get one. He had 2. And not only that, in terms of black men, he was like one of the youngest professors here in the UK. And when he was starting up, he was building his team, and he wanted to have a PhD opening, going a little bit out of his own comfort zone. So he was thinking of different things. And for him, he was moved. He said that he was praying about it, and he was thinking about myself and what I had done, and was trying to fit things together. So these were 2 separate conversations. And then he discussed with my parents, and then my parents spoke to me. So what I'm trying to tell you is networking. So speaking to each other, even in the church. And I just want to say that that's something that I know happens, but doesn't happen enough. That yes, there's the whole thing of mentoring and networking outside in the world, but also in the church itself. You have amazing people in amazing careers already. We can already start networking in the church already to get ourselves up in where we want to go, or find different experiences. So that's just one thing that I want to say. And that experience with Brother Abraham actually started to open all doors for me, because the PhD that I ended up doing was one that was a mixture of biochemistry, because that's what I studied, but also a bit of material science and biophysics, stuff that I had never done before. But at that time, it was really new, where you're starting to have interdisciplinary subjects coming together. Now it's pretty much the norm, but then it was very new. And that did a lot for me, because it started to get me to realize that I could, even if I studied one thing, I could learn something else really easily. So that's where I started realizing that I felt that I could do a lot more than just the one thing that I had, put myself forward for doing. So then with that, the next part of my career took me to Unilever. And one of the reasons why was that actually when I was doing my PhD, I realized that I liked speaking to people. I liked communicating, but I hated being in the lab. I hated all the write-up, which is quite ironic. But then I realized that that's actually not for me. And so one thing that I want to share with you is a lot of people say, you need to work on the areas that you're not good at. And what I want to say is you also need to lean into the areas that you are good at. What are your strengths? What are you really good at doing? So that in terms of whatever project or work that you are in, you can always attach yourself to what you are good at, and you can turn that into something that is more like pleasing for yourself, and something that you then want to work at. So yes, it's right to always try to upskill yourself so that you learn more, but also find what is your passion, what are the things that you are good at, and also lean into that as well. And so when I realized that, I then realized that I actually didn't want to stay in the university. I wanted to go into the corporate world and have a role where I could really talk to people, have a role where I could communicate with others. And so that's how I found myself at Unilever, which was right at the very end of R&D, but then at the very beginning of marketing. And this role was, in a sense, I look back, it was quite strategic. Someone talked about office politics, and I realized that I was seeing a lot. There's this thing where people in different functions, whether it's finance or supply chain or research and development or marketing, we all work together, but also we're kind of against each other. Your function is the best function. Your function, you want to make the stamp of what it is that you're doing. And I could see that happening. I could see that there was a lot of those in marketing didn't think that the researchers were doing their jobs properly, and then the researchers didn't think that those in marketing knew what they were talking about. So I found myself in the middle, and what I did was to make sure that I was a bit like a kingpin, just connecting people, offering myself up to people. So when I would be speaking to the R&D team, it would be like, what do you want me to tell those in marketing? Like, what do you want, how can I make your life better? And then I do the same thing with those in marketing. I'll be like, oh, I have meetings with the R&D team. Share with me what are the issues that you're going through. Then I can try to make sure that they take that into consideration. So really what I'm trying to say is that with all the office politics that was going on, I tried to find my own role there. I know that one of the things that we do in church is try to make things, smooth things over, resolve situations. I started bringing that into my own work as well. And so with that, people started to know who I was. People started to trust me. People would be like, okay, if Wunmi is on that project, then, oh yeah, she's gonna take my issues, the things that I find wrong, she's gonna take it all into account. Or at least people would be like, okay, if Wunmi's on the project, I know that she's gonna share everything with everyone. So in a sense, I started to make a name for myself, that people would want me on their teams. And so with that, different people started to want me on their team. So that was the second thing in terms of connecting. So if you can put that up on the slide. In terms of connecting with people, I would like schedule like half an hour meetings with people, and I'd sit them down and really ask them what it is that they wanted. It wasn't actually what I was paid to do. I was paid to do something else, but I felt like trying to make relationships better between others was a way of getting everyone to the same page, getting everyone together. So those kind of soft skills is what people in the world are looking for. And so that is what I started to bring in. And so from there, I then went into marketing, but actually the way that I went into marketing was through mentoring. So I mentioned before that I was just seeing people get all these amazing opportunities, and I didn't know how they were going to get it, how they were getting it. And then one day my line manager called me and she said like, oh, this lady, she was a senior person in marketing. She was like, she likes what you're doing, she sees what you're doing, and she actually wants to mentor you. And I have to say that in life, you don't always get someone saying that they want to mentor you. Normally you have to be knocking on doors, pushing it down. But I believe that this was definitely God having a hand in this, that he had moved this lady who I had not met before, but she was seeing my work, and through that she wanted to mentor me. And one of the reasons why she wanted to mentor me actually was based on her own life. So she was a Brazilian. She also was in she was in a particular function, and someone took her into marketing. And just as a bit of background, within Unilever, if you're in marketing, you're the one that is running the projects. You have the final say. So I realized that that's where she wanted to take me. She's like, I see what you're doing, and you will be so much better placed in this position. And so as we were doing this mentorship, and I don't know if you all know about different types of mentoring, she called me, she was like, this kind of mentoring, we have to be very open. You share with me your thoughts and your issues, and I will answer them as truthfully, as honestly as I can. And I will also challenge you. So that's like one of the great things that I learned through mentoring. So what she actually challenged me on was that I don't want you staying in this position within R&D. I want you to move to marketing. So I think like maybe she mentored me for like 2 years, and there were 4 different times that I remember clearly that she was like, you should go into marketing. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, I didn't even study. I don't even know the marketing 101 or anything along those lines. But she gave me that confidence. She was like, don't worry. Like, you know, you're smart already. You've been to university. You've done all of these things. That already proves your worth. The most important thing is learning on the job and using your talent in this particular area. So really through that mentorship, she gave me that push that I didn't even know that I needed to do something completely different. If she hadn't done that, I think my career, my life course would have been very different. And she opened me to different things, and that gave me, let me say, the push and the belief that I then had in myself that actually I can do that. And what I really want to share with you is that it took me the mentoring to do that, but for yourself, it should not necessarily take the mentoring. That, you know, whatever you feel that you want to do or where you want to go to, definitely take the plunge, take the belief in God that you are able to do that. So then from her mentoring me, what I want to say is that she didn't actually give me a job. She just opened my eyes to it. She opened the opportunity, and it was for me to take that on and then take it further in terms of where I wanted to go. But as she was my mentor, she then started to give me all of these opportunities, such as running different conferences or being in meetings or being in places that I didn't think that I would ever be invited to. That is the power of the mentorship that I had with her. And then after the mentoring, still in marketing, I just want to talk about peer relationships. So again, this is all like the different types of relationships that I had during my career. That it's not all about getting up, it's also about how to grow within the area that you're in. As I mentioned, I hadn't studied anything in marketing, but I had a colleague who was willing to teach me, who was willing to say, you know what, why don't you follow me on the meetings and follow me in the areas that you wouldn't be privy to. So she was like opening the doors for me. She was just I would say, a peer-to-peer person, just like myself, but she wasn't fearful that I was going to take her job or anything. She also knew that there was something, this was something that I wanted to do, and she opened the door. So again, it's just to let you know that, you know, even in life, you can be as helpful, as resourceful as you can. That will also get you very far at work. That helped me, and then I have used that to help others as well. Again, it shows the kind of person that you are in the office place if you are able to help people along the way. And then the very last thing still in marketing is coaching. So another type of like relationship to have is a coach or a sponsor. There's so many that I didn't even know in the beginning. But if you want to move on, or if you want to broaden your horizon, having a coach helps. So the mentor is giving you like the big picture. The coach is really directive in, okay, you did this, now these and these, this and this and this is what you need to do next. And then the last thing that I had there is HR. Now, some people don't like HR, but at least in my experience, HR has been very good. And the reason for that is the friendship that I've been able to let's say, to cultivate with my colleagues in HR, so that when it came to times that I wanted to change or do a switch, they already knew me, and they were very much on my side in terms of, okay, yeah, we know that you're good here, we'll help you in this area. And if anything came in, I was always the first on their mind to say, oh, this particular role or this particular job has come in, does this interest you? And that hasn't just come by the fact that I've been doing a lot, but it's just come by the fact that I've had that personal relationship with those people as well. So that is a little bit of my journey. So taking me from research all the way to marketing, and even within marketing, I've had like many different pivots, many different jobs, many different roles, but they've all come from the personal relationships that I've had with people, either through mentoring, either through coaching, either through the peer-to-peer relationship in itself. So I've been talking a lot. And now I want to do something slightly different. So if we go to the next slide. Sometimes when you hear something like mentoring or networking, everyone actually has a different takeout in terms of what that really is. So I want to find out what you all know. So if you can get your phones out and scan the QR code, there's just a couple of quizzes just so that everyone gets onto the same let's say, level playing field in terms of mentoring and networking. So if we have the first question on the screen, what word does not represent mentorship? Is it? If you put the next one, yeah, thank you. Influence, guidance, transactional, or direction? No, go one step back. Cool, let's just stay on here for a minute. So if you just, remember it's anonymous, so don't worry if you don't get the question right at all, that's irrelevant. But it's just to get everyone on the same page. Like, you know, when we're talking about mentorship, what really is that? So there are 4 words: influence, guidance, transactional, and direction. which word does not represent mentorship? So of the four that's there, one of them is wrong. Which is the wrong one? So I can't find Brother Philip, but are there enough people that have joined on? Okay. Oh, a few more seconds. Okay. Super. Okay. Let's, can they now see the answer? So if you check your phones, hopefully the answer comes up. So the answer is transactional. So if it doesn't come up, it's okay. So I'm not sure how many people got the answer correct? Oh my God, that's a lot. Okay, you're all very well versed on this. Yeah, it's transactional. So within mentorship, there's your mentor's going to influence you, share their learnings with you, give you a lot of guidance and also direction. It's not transactional. So it's not that you do something for them, they do something for you, or they do two things for you and they're expecting some form of payment or some work to be done. So that's exactly why mentorship is very important and something that really is useful for everyone because it's not transactional. Okay, then we can go to the next question. So I think it comes up straight away on your phones. What is the main goal of networking? Is it to, and in the framework of work, is it to socialize, to find a job or career opportunity, to learn about new techniques, or to share personal hobbies? So what is the main goal of networking? And this is, again, just to make sure that we're all on the same page here and we're all understanding this topic. Okay, Brother Fami, do have enough people? Yeah? So, oh, 81. And so the answer is to find a job or career opportunity. How many people got that? 82. Oh, brilliant. That's amazing. That's really good. Yes, the main goal for networking is to find a job or career opportunity. So it's all about knowing what you want in work and also going out for it. So there are obviously many ways that you can find a job, your career can go, but networking can really help. And I think the lady on the panel was talking about mentorship and networking. So this is a great opportunity for why networking is really important. And then the third and final question. Okay, why is mentoring, or when is mentoring most effective? Of course, mentoring can happen at any time, but when is it most effective? When preparing for retirement, at the start of a career, or transitioning to a new role, after you've been with a company for many years, or when you're about to leave a company? So when is mentoring most effective? So if you can just put your answer in. So the answer is at the start of a career or transitioning to a new role. And how many people got that? Okay, brilliant. That's nearly 100. That's exactly right. So it's not that this is the only time, but this is most effective. If you're going to start something new, this is the best time to start to look for a mentor. Like, how do you know how to go forward? How do you know the things that you need to do? If you're able to find a mentor, they are going to help you along the way. They're going to show you the ropes because they've been there. They've done that, and they have learnings for that. And this is how you can tap into that and make the work a lot easier for yourself. So if we just move to the next slide. I just want to talk a little bit about the importance of building professional relationships. For me, the Bible is the blueprint for everything that we're talking about in terms of networking and mentoring. And what I wanted to show you is where it's all coming from. So we see Proverbs 1:5, let the wise listen and add to their learning and let the discerning get guidance. So where you're going to get that guidance from, it is from your mentor themselves. And then you've got this other passage in Proverbs, iron sharpens iron and one man sharpens another. That is why having a mentor is very important. And as you can see, there's all the biblical references to it. And many things that I see is that even if they have started in the Bible itself, it's what is happening in the real world out there. So there are great types of mentorship. So I don't know if you know all these people that I'm going to mention, because this audience, you're a lot younger than myself, so you're all in the Gen Z, so forgive me if some of these people you don't know. But Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg. So Steve Jobs, that some of you will know, he was the CEO of Apple. He mentored Mark Zuckerberg, who is the CEO and founder of Facebook. And some of you might be thinking that, why would someone who is already at the top of their game already need mentoring? Well, there came a time when Facebook was having issues that Mark needed to speak to someone and understand how to navigate that path. And he chose Steve Jobs for that. So that's how that mentorship started. Another nice example is Oprah Winfrey. So many of you might know her as like one of the most successful black women out there. Her mentor was a lady called Maya Angelou, who was a writer and poet in the States around the 1960s. Oprah, she's got her own network. She is a billionaire. But at that time, she wanted more guidance in terms of how to start her business, how to grow her business, sorry. And also, she wanted guidance in terms of how to build on personal relationships. So mentorship doesn't have to be core on work. It can also be about guidance on how you can interact with people, the soft skills that you need at work. I still really like the question that someone talked in terms of the blue collar. You can do mentorship as well in terms of different trade work that you want. Well, it's now really called apprenticeship. It's very much the same thing. And then the last one that I had was the CEO of Microsoft. Right now it's Satya Nadella, and he had Bill Gates as his mentor, which, as one of the biggest tech companies in the world, I remember when I was reading this, I was like, why would Satya need to have a mentor? Well, for him, he actually had this when he took over Microsoft himself, and he wanted to have this so that he could have the right passion for running Microsoft. And then also Bill Gates wanted to be his mentor so that Satya could do it not the same way that Bill Gates was doing it, but in his own style. So having a mentor also helps you in terms of building the right style, the right to be able to show you the, I would say, the right attitude that you need to have. Your mentor can help you with all of those things. And even bringing it home a bit more, I was talking to my dad, and he mentioned that he had, or he's had several mentors, and one of the mentors that he had is a pastor called Pastor Shola. I don't know if any of you know him, but he, to me, is the original overseer for the north of England. And when my dad mentioned that he was his mentor, it then made so much sense to him, because like the way my dad preaches, the way that he really dissects the Word of God is exactly how Pastor Shola was doing it. So mentorship is also the same as like, having someone under your wing and teaching them which way that they should go. And then one last thing just before the slide comes up. Another really good reason for mentorship is we have this phrase in Unilever that's probably used elsewhere. It's called working smarter, not harder. So you have the same, 8 hours of work time during the day as everyone else, but certain people get further along than others. And the question is, why is that? And it is because these people, they're not working like so many more extra hours. They're working in a smart way. And again, this is like, for me anyway, why mentorship becomes important. So when I was starting in one of my mentorships, I remember the lady was telling me that make sure that you have really good relationships with the different functions that you're working with. And when I heard that, I took it on board and I started developing that. So in my own line of work, I would work very closely with the people in supply chain, so the people who will end up working in the factories to produce the product. I would work with R&D, and I was research and development, and I would also work with finance. I just made sure that each and every one of the key functions that were with me, I developed a very close relationship with them. So they knew everything that I wanted to do. I knew everything that they wanted to do. And the reason why my mentor had told me about that, she was like, if you don't have them on your side, then your project is not going to fly. If you don't have them on your side, you might launch a project, and then afterwards, it just, as soon as you go, it just falls flat, because no one is invested. So what she was teaching me was how to make sure that people are invested in what I considered most important. So if you can go to the next slide. So I don't know if you buy Surf or Persil, but these products that you're seeing, the packaging behind them was all created by me. I was the project manager for this. Thank you. And all over Europe, so it's called Persil, it's called Omo in some countries, but the name is irrelevant. It's still the same brand. You can go to any store in any of the European countries, and if it's from Unilever, it all looks like this. This took me 2 years to launch. One of the reasons why it was big was that we were changing the whole factory. So my relationship with the team in supply chain and the team in the factory had to be tight to get this going. So if anyone knows anything about factory work, and you know how much money needs to be invested in the machinery, you know how long it takes to create those parts. And one of the biggest things during this time was that from a European point of view, we wanted to go ahead with this, but there were so many other stakeholders that didn't want this project to happen, that wanted us to go with the flow of what another group of people were doing. What I learned, or at least what my mentor had taught me, was that it can't be everything that you're fighting for. But if you have people invested in the same goal, they will be the ones fighting for you. And sometimes as Black people, we get that the horrible stereotype of angry Black people. I just wanted to make sure that, especially if decisions were not going my way, it wasn't necessarily just me speaking that out. The people in the team will be the ones speaking it out, because they knew how much they had invested in this. This was their baby. You know what they say, success has many fathers. So this was their baby as well as mine. And they were the ones that fought it. Like, I realized that I didn't actually need to do so much because everybody else was invested. And that was because of the relationship that I was building to get people on side on this. And yeah, that's what I want to say on it. There's something else I want to say, but I'll probably say it later on. So, another thing, actually. Being on this project at that time, some people would argue that I wasn't really qualified to run a big project like that. But it was a lady, she was kind of a mentor. Someone had left, and she was like, oh, I want Wunmi to be the one to lead it. Oh, I'll be there as well to guide her, but I want Wunmi to lead it. being able to have those personal relationships puts your name on the table, um, gives you a seat at the table as well. So again, just sharing with you why mentorship networking is important. Doesn't have to be in a company like mine, could be in, whether it's in the church or any other profession that you're in. Your mentor can be the one to drop your name in meetings, in situations that you're not, and put you forward for that. Okay, if we go on to the next slide. Okay, I want to talk very quickly now about the power of mentorship using two case studies in the Bible. So the first one is Elijah and Elisha. Now, all of you know the story of Elijah. He was this great prophet. There was a time that he commanded like no rain, and for 3.5 years it didn't rain. He also raised the widow's son, brought him to life. He's the one that brought fire down from heaven. He did so much. But there came a time when God was like, okay, I need to take you. So this is the time where he knew that he was going to be taken away, and he needed to, in a sense, pass on his mantle to Elisha. So this is them meeting, and they actually had like a powerful mentorship. I'm just thinking back, like it was just, I don't know, maybe someone said, oh, Elijah brought Elisha under his wings, but this story you all know, to me, really does show the power of mentorship in itself. So very quickly, if we open to, oh no, we're still on Elijah, 1 Kings 19. So 1 Kings 19, and it's 19 to 21. So what I want to bring out is the training of this. So yeah, 1 Kings 19 to 21. So he departed thence and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he with the 12th. And Elijah passed by him and cast his mantle upon him. And he left the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, let me, I pray thee, kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow thee. And he said to him, go back, for what have I done for thee? And he returned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slew them and boiled their flesh with the instruments of the oxen and gave unto the people, and they did eat. Then he arose and he went after Elijah and ministered unto him. So there's another passage that you'll see, another Bible version that you'll see that doesn't necessarily say ministered, but that's where his training started. Through mentorship, that is where you get trained. Me taking on that project was a type of training. So the senior lady was going to show me the ropes of that. And also, I talk about mentorship. It's the same with like apprentice. You're under someone. This is where all the training happens. And then the next point after that is next level. I feel that when you have a mentor, they are then able to they're able to open doors for you that are next level, that you wouldn't necessarily have been able to find yourself. But they're in a position to show you things. They're in a position to put you in strategic places. They're in a position to say, oh, actually, why don't you do that job and I'll just watch and you go forward. That's what was given to Elisha whilst he was working with Elijah. And then the last point is a double portion. So 2 Kings 2 verse 9. So in 2 Kings 2 verse 9, and it came to pass when they were gone over that Elijah said unto Elijah, what shall I ask what I should do for thee before I be taken away from thee? And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion of thy spirit be upon me. That is so powerful. In fact, like the names that I mentioned before, Mark Zuckerberg, Oprah, they're much bigger. They are they are bigger people than their mentors were. That is what happens when you have a mentor. You are able to surpass them. Elisha was able to have a double portion. And I just remember that there was one message that I heard from Pastor Shola, and I don't know how he was able to do that, but he was able to show us the miracles that Elijah had done, and then how Elisha doubled that. I was like, wow. And you know, that is the power of being of having a mentor. And even, I don't know who would like me to say this, but even like my dad, like what Pastor Shola had set up was great. But, you know, through God's grace, what my dad and even Pastor Aya have been able to do in the church in the space of time is even far greater than their mentors before them. So with that, let's go to the second case study and look at Esther and Mordecai. So at this period of time, Esther and the Jews, they were captives, and you know, Esther didn't have parents, so Mordecai stepped in, and Mordecai actually mentored her. And I just want to show you like some of the key things that came about in their mentorship. So Esther 2:19 to 20. I know if that can come up, because I'm not that speedy in opening the passages. Esther 2:19 to 20, and I still haven't found it. No. Oh, thank you. Okay, and when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gates, and the next, Esther had not yet shewed her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her. For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him. So, I mean, in the text that I had, I didn't put like obedience, because maybe that's like old language, but listening. So when you're in a mentorship, your mentor is going to share with you everything that they've gone through. And it's your responsibility to be able to listen and apply that. And you see Esther listening. You see Esther listening to the fact that Mordecai had said, don't let them know that you are a Jew. And she stuck to that because this is what she was told by her mentor to do, and that obviously helped her. Then the second point. So the second point is, so we have listening. Trust, yes. The second point is trust. Esther 4:11. If we just go to Esther, So all the king's servants and the people of the king's provinces do know that whosoever, whether man or woman, shall come unto the king into the inner court, or who is not called, there is one law of this. And then paraphrasing the next, that law is death. So if the king has not called you, you will, if the king has not called you, the punishment is then death. So Esther knew this, but Mordecai had said to her, you need to go and see the king. And so then she then asked Mordecai, okay, if you're going to say that I'm going to see the king, it's a crazy thought, but if I'm going to do that, I have to go with God. So I want you all to fast and pray, and I will also fast and pray, and then I will go to see the king. Everyone knew the law, and so did Esther, but she trusted in Mordecai. So there's going to be times that your mentor is going to ask you to do, not going to put your life in danger like Esther had, but within the work reason, that you then need to trust your mentor in terms of doing what they've asked you to do. So that becomes really powerful, and that's because they've been there before. They've done majority of what they're asking you to do, so they can in a sense see the future and want you to do even better than they have done. And then the very last point was about her selflessness. So when you read that passage, like everyone is celebrating at that time. Her people were freed. They weren't condemned to death. So in terms of the power of mentorship, it helps you to be selfless. You are learning so much from your mentor that you then want to share that with other people as well. So all of these are like the power of mentorship. So I hope that through this, mentorship is something that you'll all want to do. Then on the next slide, I wanted to talk a little bit about networking and the strength of networking. And this comes from Genesis 24. Again, all of this is to prove that if people in the corporate world are doing these things, how much so should ourselves as children of God also be doing this when it's actually written in the Bible to do. So this story is about Abraham and Isaac. So I'm just going to actually paraphrase it very quickly for everyone. This was Abraham, he'd been promised a son, he'd been promised all this land from God, so he had it. He was really getting old, and he wanted to find a wife for his son. And okay, I'll read a little bit. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and the Lord had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant in the house that ruled over everything that he had, Put, I pray thee, thy hand under my thigh, and I will make thee swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that thou shalt not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I dwell. So Abraham was really clear with the servant that he wanted to find a wife for his son Isaac, but it should not be of the Canaanites. It needed to be of his own people. When going out to do networking, you need to know who you need to know. So you have to be very clear. So to be able to network, it's not about being wishy-washy and just going with the flow. No, you have to be very clear in terms of what you want. Is it a job that you're looking for? Is that why you're networking? Is it experience that you're looking for? So is that why you're networking? Is it relationship building that you're looking for? And therefore, that's why you're networking. You really need to know what it is that you want, because this is people's time. It's also your time as well. So people are going to want to know, what is it that you want from me? Make prayer a part of your networking. We see that when the servant went out, he actually committed this to God. So in Genesis 24, 12 to 14, I'll just read that quickly. And he said, O Lord God of my master Abraham, I pray thee, send me good speed this day and shew kindness unto my master Abraham. So just before he went out, he was praying to God for success. He was praying to God for who he wanted to find. So in terms of you networking, it's going to be even more helpful if you commit this to God in prayer in terms of, this is what I'm looking for. When you go down a little bit further, the servant is still praying, and he says, behold, I stand here by the well of water, and the daughters of men of the city come out to draw water. So he's saying, like, this is what's going to happen. And let it come to pass that the damsel to whom I shall say, let down thy pitcher, I pray thee, that I may drink, and she shall say, drink, and I will give thy camels drink also. Let the same be she that thou hast appointed for thy servant Isaac. He was super clear. He was very clear. I mean, to the point that he was actually talking about the script. I need to say this, she needs to say that. You don't need to be that specific in your prayer or in what you're looking for, but it is important to be very clear in what it is that you're asking for, because when you're networking, you don't have all the time in the world. So you need to be clear, concise in terms of what it is that you want. The next point, if you go back to the slides, in networking is the fact that the servant had many gifts to offer. So what can you offer? So the servant had many gifts. What this means for us is that whilst networking, it shouldn't just be a one-way street, it should also be two-way as well. So what do you have that you can share with the person that you're networking? So like, why should they give up their time? Why should they do certain things for you? So what can you give? And it could be as simple as, oh, I have this knowledge in this area, I can share that with you. Or I have these contacts, I know these people, that I can share with you as well. So it needs to be a little bit of a two-way story. And then the last element is telling your own story. So when the elder servant met with Rebecca and the family, he was able to share with them why he was on this mission, what he was doing. So then it's important that you know your story. Why are you there? What is the reason for you wanting to set up this network? And you're doing it in a way to convince the person that you want to take you on, so that they get caught up in your own story. They believe your story. They become also passionate about your story. So having your own story to tell will help you get further within networking. Okay, I know I've only got a few more minutes left, but there are a few things that I wanted to say. If we can go back to the slides, that everything that I've just been talking about in mentorship, in networking, is all well and good. But there are 4 key things that you need to have to help you in your career, whatever your career is. One is knowing your purpose. And I can't stress that enough, when you know your purpose, when you know why you're here, when you know what it is that God put you on this earth for, every morning you will wake up with joy. There are times that I'm grateful that I know my own purpose. There's times that I'm having like really annoying arguments with people at work. And that, sometimes, you just want to give up, but you take a step back and you're thinking, okay, this is the bigger picture. That is what helps me to get through whatever situation I'm in. Or that whole thing of like waking up in the morning and then you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to be doing mundane work that's not really helping me. But then you realize that it's either a stepping stone to where you want to get to, or it's feeding into your purpose. So what I've just outlined here are the key things to help you to know your purpose. Read God's word. What does God say about you? That, his thoughts for you, they are good and not of evil, to give you that expected end. And be prayerful about it as well, in terms of the direction that God wants to take you. And also, what is your own God-given passion or talent? I remember there was some times that I would be thinking, am I called to be a preacher, or called to talk more about the Bible? And I realized that was not really where my strengths lied. But when it comes to connecting with people or meeting with people, that is definitely what I liked to do. So then I realized that is just, God has given me that. He has blessed me with that, and therefore through that I'm able to find his purpose for me. So one is to know your purpose. Also build your personal brand. Because it makes it easier for people to find the opportunities for you, in terms of what is the narrative, or what's the story that you want people to say about you. But you need to construct that for you. Others should not be the one to say, this person, blah, blah, blah. They should be speaking what you're saying about yourself. So what is the story that you want people to know about you? And then embody that in your own, embody your brand in everything that you want. And I did that. So, part of my own story is that I want to be, a vessel, a platform for people from underrepresented communities that like ourselves. I want to show that we can do much more, even in the workplace, and also at large help to make the world as best as we can. And it was all of those thoughts that I had in my mind when I was doing that project. I wanted them to know that yes, it was a Black person that ran that project and launched it. I wanted them. There were several other things that I wanted to make sure was part of that project, because that was me, that was my brand, and I was the one that was in charge. And so I would be the one to write that story, not others. And also communicate your brand story. So for those that enjoy Instagram, LinkedIn, what are the articles you want to be posting? What are the articles you even want to be writing as well? These are ways that people will start to know you and know what you're about. And if we go to the next slide. So after knowing your purpose, personal brand, be proactive. With my first mentorship, I think that was definitely God. It's not all the time that someone's going to come to you, but majority of the time you have to seek out the mentor. You have to, you're the one that needs to start the networking and getting people in, or going to people in the positions that you want to be in. So you need to be proactive. Don't wait until you need it. Don't wait until there's a restructure or you're going to lose your job. Start being proactive now, because the discussions that you have are different. And then when you do definitely need them, you can then drop in the, do you have, I'm looking for work, but you've already built that relationship already, so that you're not going to them only because you want work. So be proactive, start now, and also do what makes sense for you. You don't have to have 10 mentors at the same time or be networking every week. Make it personal, whatever you can manage, you do that. And then the last point is always be persistent. So it's long term, but it's absolutely worth it. Persistence is key. People are going to turn around and say no to you. So that's fine. You then move on to the next one. But the more that you do it, that is how God will start to open doors for you. There's I don't know if it's a biblical saying, but if one door closes, God's able to open a window somewhere else. That's literally what this is all about. But you have to but you have to be persistent. You have to be knocking on more than one door, and always reach out. Whatever the profession that you want, you have to reach out in the right areas, because it's not going to come to you. You need to go out and get it. And then the very last thing that I want to leave you with are three key things. The first one is work smarter, not harder. So if there's any phrase that I want to leave you with, it is that. And for me, that smartness came from having a mentor. That smartness came from networking, speaking to others. You don't need to struggle through everything. Other people have been there before. Tap into their own resource. And this applies to whether it's in the workplace, whether it's in the church, whether it's for an apprenticeship that you want to do. Take the opportunity that people have done things before you, and just be brave enough to go and ask. Majority of the time, people will say yes. People do want to be helpful, but you have to be the one to go out and to initiate those things. So start working smarter, not harder. The second thing is finding your purpose. If there were more workshops on finding your purpose that the church did, I would be so great, because if everyone is living in their own purpose, life just becomes so much better. You know why you're doing it. You know where you're going to. You can build plans to get there. So finding your purpose, your God-given purpose, is so important. And you're going to even start hearing this outside the church. Like, if people outside the church know that finding your purpose is important, how much as where this word actually came from, and it's God that gives you that purpose, becomes even more important. And then the last point is about being persistent. As I say, keep on knocking on those doors. You are going to be disappointed. People are going to say no, but that's not the end of it at all. Keep on going. There will definitely be a yes. God will also direct you to the right people if it's all done in a prayerful way. But it just takes you being persistent and not giving up straight away. So that's what I wanted to share with everyone. I hope that there is something in what has been said that has been helpful for you all. Thank you.